Hey there, friends. Pastor Dave here with another weekly devotion for all the saints. Hope you're doing well today. I want to start us off with a quick reading from Sarah Arthur's Coffee with God. This is a devotion today about hypocrisy. Whether we like it or not, our lives are stories that people are reading. Each of us is a book with a beginning, a middle, and an end. And when other people read that book, what do they learn? What would they say is the purpose of that book? What's the defining theme? Well, if the title of my life is Christian, if that's the identity I've chosen as a follower of Jesus, then the purpose or theme of my story should be to show people who Jesus is, to point others to God. This goes for my words, my actions, goals, obligations, spending habits, relationships, and everything in between. If none of those things match my title, the people reading the book of my life will complain that my inner chapters don't live up to the promise of Christian. Instead, they'll say I should have been titled bookworm, or shopaholic, or whiner. Catch those readers in a bad mood and they'll simply settle for hypocrite and call it a day. When other people read the story of your life, when they observe you going about your day, a living and breathing book, what are they learning? How can you craft and shape the manuscript of who you are so it accomplishes the purpose you've stated in the title, the opening sentence? Because your title is a promise. It means your inner material should match what you say up front about yourself. And if it doesn't, take it from a writer, your readers have every reason to blow you off. You know, we're all familiar with the saying, you can't judge a book by its cover, which is reasonable. I mean, it's true. It's good practice that we should be willing to, dig below the surface, dig a little deeper, and get to know someone really before we make judgments about who they are. But at the same time, when we're in a bookstore, it's the cover that catches our eye, isn't it? It's what we see on the outside. It's the way the book is presented. And the whole industry knows this. There are people who design book covers specifically to convey information to you about what is going on in this book. And authors choose titles that they think are going to get your attention and make you want to read. Now, of course, if what's inside the book is not the same as what's on the cover, we end up disappointed and frustrated. And perhaps we choose not to go back to that author. We don't want to read anything else by them. Or maybe we don't go back to that bookstore or to that book clerk that made the recommendation to us. What's inside, obviously, is what counts. But it's important that what's outside points in the same direction as what's inside. That's what Sarah is saying about our own lives as Christians. We may be well aware of our own thoughts and purposes and goals and be able to see in our own heads how we are oriented toward or devoted to Jesus. But does that really come through? Do people see that in the ways that we behave? In the actions that we take, in the choices that are externally visible, in the words that we use, in the ways that we talk about other people. There's another way of saying this that Jesus actually pointed out quite often. He was concerned with people being hypocrites, with people whose behaviors didn't match their beliefs, or whose actions didn't match what they said about what mattered. These were the arguments Jesus got into more than really any other. It was with religious leaders, with scribes and Pharisees and people who were in positions of religious authority, who were teaching things that they themselves were not doing. And Jesus said this was a huge problem. Rather than judging someone based on what they say or what they think or what they affirm, he said we ought to judge them based on the fruit that is expressed in their lives. What comes out? So if you consider the people around you, observing you who has identified yourself as a Christian, they are learning what you think that word means every time you go to the store, every time you speak to a child or a spouse, every time you hang out on the ball field, every time you turn in an assignment at work or at school, they are learning what you think Christian means. Are they learning what you want them to be learning from you? Saints, that's your devotion for this week. Hope it's helpful and worth thinking about. Hope you're doing well, staying healthy. I will be praying for you. Please keep praying for me, and I'll see y'all again soon. Take care.